Morning, Josh. Morning, Alip. 75. Morning, Alip. 75. Morning, Chip. Yeah, doing well. Thank you very much. Hope you are well too. So basically, what I've got as a commission is uh, hey, good morning, Philly Piper. Yes, we're going to go for that. The thing is that the first thing I'm going to do is check the blocks, because if they've got one of these looks like it might have very good grain, which if you because you're having a carve blast on yours, so I don't want to waste a good block. So I'm going to try a few different blocks and go for one which, although it has grain, but may not be superb. I mean, ideally you want to have some grain there, otherwise, completely bald pipe is generally considered to be not great, but from a absorption point of view and stuff like that. So there'll always be grain, but I don't want to carve up a block which has got superb grain, which will make a lovely smooth pipe, unless you're happy to have it smooth. But I assume you want it to be carved last. But to be perfectly honest with you, most Ebershorn blocks, not all, but most, I totally get that as well, because smooth pipes are they're often hotter to hold, and they get a bit dull with time. So I totally understand where you're coming from. I like a good mix, actually. Personally, I like a bit of smooth and a bit of exactly like the pipe that you've ordered. You've got a nice smooth rim, so there's a bit of a sort of a highlight of grain, and then on the base perhaps there'll be some grain depending on how it works out. So yeah, I agree. I think if rustication, carving, sandblasting, whatever it might be, is used creatively and in sympathy with the rest of the pipe, with the shape of the pipe, and you allow some highlights to pop through, a little bit of grain here and there, a little bit of smooth, for me that's the best. One of the guys who used to do this, I used to absolutely love his pipes, was I'll talk about somebody when I come to say his name. I can't remember his name, but it was Mark Balkovac. He did fantastic smooth pipes as well, but his bit of it's a big shame that he doesn't do pipes anymore. But he was a I think he was a very highly skilled artisan, very highly skilled artisan. Morning, Jack. I don't know. I think he. I mean, I've had one of his pipes. I ordered one of his pipes from him. He did an economy range at one point. I think it was about $100 or £100, something like that. A little sort of like a hybrid Canadian shank, like an oval shank with a like a kind of a pot kind of bowl. So I think if I remember correctly, the bowl was sandblasted and the shank was smooth, and it was gorgeous. I don't know why I sold it, but I did. It was probably one of those which went, possibly due to, it wasn't to do with going over to filters. I remember that. It was more to do with my ignorance when it comes to pipe smoking. Something was about that pipe that I wasn't happy with. I don't remember what it was, but something I wasn't happy with. Sometimes pipes don't break in for a while. They take some time, and you just haven't got the patience. It's really impatience on my part. I really don't know. He definitely doesn't make pipes anymore. He's out of the business. It's not to say he doesn't make any pipes for himself. Who knows? But he's certainly not on the circuit. I'm kind of itching to make this pipe. I think potentially it's got fantastic grain. This pipe. Um, but it needs to dry out. As soon as I started sanding it, I could see these dark patches, which indicates dampness. I'm going to sand it again and see if that goes, or if that comes back. If not, I think I'll just have to take it inside and into a warmer environment. I should have actually done that over the weekend. I don't know why I didn't. But that's going to be Fife Hoosley. Welcome aboard. Thank you for joining. That is, for me, should be a perfect kind of size and shape and everything about this pipe. Good thick walls. This is not a tapered bowl, it's a regular U-shaped bowl with a flared junction, which is something I'm doing quite a lot of these days. And it's a very slight bend that'll come up to something like that. That's literally a spot on kind of pipe for me. The idea of doing this sort of flared at the base is twofold. Number one, because I always try to leave plenty briar beneath the bowl so that there's no danger of it burning out. And number two, that extra gives me room for drilling when I'm doing the draft hole. It allows me to get an angle a little bit better. There's room to play with, basically. That's absolutely dead center. If you can see that there, it's exactly perfectly placed. I'm kind of itching to finish this pipe. A few pipes ago I had a 4-star, if you remember that, like an author shape, squash tomato, apple, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it's quite on the same level, but it's not far off from what I can see. So I'm itching to finish this pipe. So what I do need to do actually, because I haven't had my morning pipe yet, so I want to just carve this out a little bit, because I had a little bit of a gurgle on it the other day, although I only had it once, but maybe I was smoking it more wet than usual. But I'm just gonna smooth out the base a little bit in case that was the issue. Memories of your last dentist visit, perhaps? See there, Jack. working a little bit blind because as soon as I put the wand in, it kind of takes up the whole hole. So I'm kind of got to aim and then hope for the best. Okie dokie, that should be a lot better, hopefully. It's like I've got to break it in all over again now. Hey James. That's it, get your fingers all dirty. All nice and black. Yuck. The only thing with alcohol is that it strips all the oils from your hands. So you got to put some cream on straight away. Something I've discovered, these little bottles, they leak if they're not standing up. It's about the third or fourth time this has happened now. Somehow the bottle has got knocked down and half of it's, not half, but a bunch of it's leaked out. So I've started now moving them into jars. It makes it easier to use as well. So this is the dark brown. That's the medium brown. That's lacquer, shellac, and the ones which I don't use as often at the moment, they're still in their bottles. But at some point, when I properly kit this place out, I keep talking about kitting it out and never getting around to it, but when I do get around to it, everything will have its place. So tobacco today is a mixture of Orly Golden Sliced and vanilla roll cake. By the way, James, in case you're wondering, your one is not out here because I don't want it to get wrecked. I have it upstairs in my office. I was just thinking about it yesterday. I had it on next to my desk last night, and I was thinking to myself, just realised that James hardly ever sees me using it, so I have to make a point of doing that, upstairs. Well, you see me using your tamper all the time. Amphora and vanilla roll cake. Yeah, I can see that. Amphora Virginia, I think, is a very, very underrated tobacco. I've said this many times in the past. It's a good tobacco. It's sweet. It's got that McBaron kind of addition to it. If I didn't like it, it'd have been sold by now. And it's got my name on it, so that wouldn't work with it. Right. Let's get this lit. And let's get the show on the road. Hmm. Canuco. I haven't heard that brand. The Avos I've had some Avos before. I think some I liked and some I didn't. It really depends on which blend it is. I think I found it too peppery, if I remember correctly. It's going back quite a bit of time ago. Right, I'm just going to sand off the face of these blocks and see what they look like. See, this one here, Evershone block, you can see the grain there just about. But you turn it on its side, and just look at that. So I'm holding on to that, and I will turn this on its side and make an author shape or an apple out of that. You've got to be prepared to turn them around and just get the best out of the grain. You know, if you get gifted a block with nice grain, you just got to make the most of it. Silly not to. Yeah, you want it to be stacked, Michael? By the way, are you called Mike or Michael? Mike, okay, cool. Okay, so that's what we're looking at roughly. So there's going to be a horn godet on there. Are you any preference on stem, Mike? Just regular black, or you want something else? Cool. Okay, I don't need to worry about the stem now because it's not a flush fit, so don't have to worry about it now. So you give it a bit of a shake when you've got the honey in there. That ash sticks to the walls and just helps aid the cake build up in the breaking in process. Tobacco Smoking Piper, how you doing? Yeah, I've removed the numbers of likes and dislikes. It just became a distraction, and it kind of empowered those idiots who kept on doing those 3 or 4 dislikes. Although I personally never was bothered by it, but it got mentioned so many times by people. Almost every single video you'd get those 3 or 4 dislikes, and I just didn't want to give them the attention that they're looking for, and so it's pointless now. They've got if they want to show themselves, they have to write a comment, and I welcome that. If people got to criticize, I've got no problem with that. You can have a debate, have a discussion, as long as it's not, done on a personal level or done in a unsavory kind of way. But if there's something about my work or there's something about me or whatever that you want to talk about, go ahead. YouTube's done away with dislikes? I think you can still click dislike, but it doesn't count it. Oh, the counter, there you go. So I guess they still get their algorithms, but at least people don't feel dubbed on, and idiots don't get empowered. I don't mind criticism either. I welcome it as long as it's constructive. If people are just trying to have a dig at you or pull you down, I've had that almost since day one, since I started making pipes, especially here in the UK. I've had it, people trying to pull me down, especially English people. And you just have to learn to ignore it. You just have to get a thicker skin. Otherwise, you just get upset and depressed. There's no point. And the vast majority of the time, it's jealousy. Sad people. James. Peter Field, welcome aboard. There's plenty of people here in the UK who buy the pipes as well, but it seems that the negativity I get is from a lot of the time is from UK-based people, which is sad. And now I'm very grateful that I have, yes, my biggest customer base is the United States, without a doubt. I'm obviously eternally grateful for that. But I do have customers here in the UK, and all over the world really. But the negativity, for some reason, it's kind of people tend to pull their own down for some reason. They just can't cope with people getting somewhere. So, Peter Field, how do I get into pipe making? I was asked the same question on Saturday night on Virtual Pipe Club, and I think it was Tim possibly who asked. I'm sort of still a pipe fan. I keep saying that. I'm sort of very, very enthusiastic about the pipe hobby, and have been virtually since day one. Since I sort of discovered a pipe, I kind of was hooked. And I think a lot of people at one time or another during their pipe smoking journey, if you like, they'll pick up a pre-drilled block and just play around with it, not with any intention to become a pipe maker. At that stage, I had no intention of becoming a pipe maker, but I bought a couple of hobby blocks and I just played around. I took them on vacation with me one year, and I just whittled away, played around, sanded it until I fashioned a pipe of some sort, a smokable pipe. It was rubbish, but it was still a smokable pipe. And the second one already was 100 times better, and the third time even better than that. So once I sort of got to that stage, and I think by that stage I had just about started doing YouTube videos, possibly. No, 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 no. I was already doing YouTube videos before that because I started making pipes about 3 years ago. I probably had the hobby block about 4 years ago, and I've been doing videos for about must be coming up to 6 years now. I think I started in December 6 years ago. This time 6 years ago. My first couple of videos are no longer on the channel, so I think the videos started in January the following year, but I had started before that. And then there is a creative side to me, and once I started enjoying the shaping aspect of it and just creating a pipe and creating a pipe that I could smoke, and then within making a few pipes, people were saying, would you sell it and that kind of thing. And then so I sold the first few pipes, and I was amazed that the first pipe, not the first pipe, but one of the first pipes, I think sold for about £90, something like that, which is a really high price for a first kind of batch of pipes. Most people here in the UK anyway, when they're selling their first pipes, they're selling them for 40, 50 quid. And so I was kind of blown away at the time. And it's pretty much been the same. I mean, my prices are not exorbitant, if you think about it. I'm still selling some of the sort of more basic pipes at around £140, £150. So it's not a huge increase from 90. Maybe 90 was too ambitious at the time. I imagine that was too high at the time. But and I recognize as well that it's also because of my YouTube channel that people were buying my pipes. I know that there are some pipe makers who have kind of pushed on their YouTube game because I've had one or two guys comment about, well, I would sell that many pipes if I had 5,000 subscribers or 6,000 subscribers, which also it kind of smacks of a little bit of negativity, but at the same time there is truth in that. There is a certain amount of exposure. When I put up a video, I know that there's going to be a certain amount of at least a few hundred people will see that. You're not going to get 6,000 people watching a video, but you can see the views obviously, and on average, within the first week, my videos will see 400-500 views or something like that, and then I don't expect people to watch every single pipe video. I know I don't put up as many community, YTPC videos. It's more the pipes that I sell, but I do try when I can. So if I'm out and about, if I'm on vacation, or if I go out on a Sunday, I'll always try to find a way of adding videos. And every so often I'll still do impressions videos. I don't do them as much as I should, I know that. I feel bad, but I've got to make a living. My photography's in the crapper, so it's although I do get the odd job here and there. I had one last night, but it's much less than it used to be. It's a fraction of what it used to be, and I rely on this for a living. I literally rely on this for my day-to-day living. So yeah, I mean, he would be able to sell his pipes for a fair bit of money. Maybe they'll smoke. I don't see why they wouldn't smoke. I mean, I've had my issues with him before, but not. I wish him only the best. I've got nothing against the man at all. Um, I think he's done a great service to pipe smokers all over the world. Um, I think he's the type of guy, a bit like Stuff and Things. He's the type of guy is once you get past a certain amount of his videos, you've kind of, you're mutton chopped out, if you like. And maybe people say that about me as well. So it's very possible. I totally understand that. My non-pipe sale videos, I try to make as diverse as possible. I can't say that it always works, but I try. He's never made. No, I hear what you're saying. Um, I remember at one of the Chicago pipe shows, there was a lot of criticism. There was a couple of pipe makers who had just started making pipes, and their pipes looked good, but they went straight in at the $500 mark, and they got a lot of criticism at the time. Because in the pipe making business, the buying public, the pipe buying public, in a way, they want to see you do your service. You know, they want to see you do your time. They jump in at $500, even if the pipes are good. There just wasn't any kind of history. Pay your dues, exactly. You lost the sat bug. What's that? Sat bug. Oh, stuff and things. Yeah, yeah. I mean, stuff and things became to me again. I don't take this as criticism because we all have our own styles, but for me, it just didn't suit me. It became too long-winded, and you know, if having said that, if I want to get a good breakdown of a blend, I'll still go and search out and see if he's got a video on it. It's a very rare thing for me these days, but when there was a blend that I wanted to search out, I would do that. So in terms of breaking down a tobacco and giving you all the information that you need, he's great at that. I just certain elements of what he was doing didn't sit well with me. But I think he's a very good reviewer. His delivery style, just after a while, you know, you've had enough. Hey Nick, welcome aboard. It really depends on how early I get on. I tried to get on early, but this morning I had some photo processing work that I had to get done and uploaded to get printed, so I'm a bit later. But if I can, I try to get on by about 9:30, 10 o'clock UK time. If I'm going live, I don't go live every single day, but yeah, absolutely, James. YouTube can help. You got a captive audience, which you don't have to pay for other than by investing time and effort in putting out a channel. I'm depends what you call full time. I sit around smoking a pipe, put my legs up, and chillax. And in between enjoying myself, I'll make a pipe. Oh, the life of a pipe maker. I look forward to having you on board, Nick. You'll get used to my sense of humour. Somebody's at the door.
Someone is at the front door.
Someone is at the front door. Hello. You might have been a delivery. Hang on. Okay. Thank you, James. Yeah, yeah. My daily commute to work was a good while back now. You're talking 4 or 5 months ago, something like that. So that's a thing of the past at the moment. I used to do photography by contract in a certain thing. So I did that almost every day, and that's done with. So we don't have the morning drives with me being opinionated. Instead, we have Philly Piper doing a morning drive instead. Not that I see any of my pipes in your mush. Don't worry, no offense taken. Hopefully, this one will make the grade. I do see your videos, even if I don't comment every time, but I do see them. Mm, cool, cool. Before long, you'll have your LCS 7-day set. All right, let's get to making this pipe. Nick Bowles subscription. Thank you, Nick. Nothing escapes the Apple Watch. Shimshon, morning. Me old mucker. How are you? Well, it's afternoon for you. No, I don't think it was a packet arriving. Somebody came to the door. It was a social call, not a package, I'm afraid. But I haven't actually looked to see if it's out for delivery or not today. The thing is, I bought the Apple Watch for a different reason. I bought the Apple Watch because it was a way for, especially when I've got machines on and stuff like that, it's easier to just glance at your watch rather than take out the phone, unlock it, and blah blah. And the kids could get hold of me that way. So yeah, bloody Royal Mail, ridiculous. Without realizing it, our lives are controlled by technology these days, completely. More and more. The more devices we get, the more reliant on them we are. In a way, I kind of get an enforced break from it every Saturday because I don't wear the Apple Watch on a Saturday. I don't wear any technology or use any technology on Saturdays, and that's in a way it's an enforced like zone out from everything like that. So in some ways, it's a good thing. Ugh, I've just remembered I'm having my jab today, my third jab. No, that's true, Stephen. There's no technology to pipes. I never thought of that actually. It's a very analog type of organic experience. Mm. But we look at technology nowadays. because we're so enveloped in digital technology, we don't even look at the wheel or a lever as technology. That was the technology of a few thousand years ago. That was the cutting edge. Nowadays, we don't even see that as being something, such a brilliant invention. We just, we take everything for granted. Everything has become so mundane, but in reality, it's fantastic. Yeah, even computers. We don't even realize anymore the stuff that's going on. I'm looking at a screen now, reading your messages. It's just unbelievable. Like the Hasidic story, learned from telegraph and train. You got me there. This coffee is a good coffee. You get when you're drinking your coffee, it's sometimes at the perfect temperature. When it's too hot, it's too hot. When it goes below a certain temperature, it kind of becomes a little bit too unexciting. It's not kind of attacking your senses enough anymore because it becomes a bit too creamy, a little bit too boring. When it's at a perfect temperature, you want to make the most of it. It's at the perfect temperature. Excuse me. In my pipe today, I'm smoking some tobacco. Oh, I see. Okay. Nice one, Stephen. Mm. I mean, I'll drink it if I'm desperate. If I'm out here and it's already gone cold or tepid and and I'm parched, I'll still drink it, but I don't like it as much. I can drink cold coffee if I have to. Some people would balk at the idea, but I can if I have to. But I like it to be just below that really hot temperature, which you have to only just take tiny sips. I don't enjoy that too much. When it's gone to even hot, but just too easy to drink, that's gone too far. I need it in between when it's just, I can't keep drinking it because it's too hot, but I can drink enough. It's not too hot to drink. I can take some good gulps of it without it burning me. It's good coffee. Yeah, Shumshan, 100%. I totally get that. Sometimes you just get what you can. This is Orlick Golden Sliced mixed with 2 coins of vanilla roll cake. It's funny, I keep thinking which one I actually prefer, and I keep changing. Um, I was for a while onto the flake cut and saying, yeah, that's my preferred choice of the three vanillas from McBaron. And I think at the moment now I'm on a bit of a roll cake kick. I wasn't so fussed for them initially, but I'm starting to really get them. There's a certain, well, it's the type of vanilla, but there's a certain something there. In the roll cake, it's got a certain Play-Doh. Have you ever had Play-Doh? Do you have Play-Doh in the States? Well, it's probably invented in the States, rather. We have it after you. But that smell, that almost marzipan-y kind of aroma, and it kind of has it in the roll cake. It's kind of a mixture of vanilla and a little bit of marzipanish almond paste kind of flavor. You don't eat Play-Doh in the States? Cool. We eat it here all the time. That's where we get our brains. I think they had to change the aroma because kids were eating it. The aroma of it is just so delicious. I've got a feeling that they had to change it here because it was so nice. It was too tempting and kids were eating it. Still getting a gurgle. If you get a gurgle in your pipe, put your hand over the top, cup the pipe, and give it a sharp downward motion. And what that does is the centrifugal force pulls all the liquid back down into the pipe, and it prevents the gurgle for a while. Cool. I'm going to have to investigate further as to why I'm getting moisture in this pipe. It could just be the tobacco. It might not be anything to do with the pipe, but I don't usually have a problem. You can do that if you don't use filters. If you use filters, you can only get as far as that. And sometimes that helps. But you're not getting into this area here, which is usually where it's all going on. That's actually smoking really well, the system pipe. I'm still in the breaking in phase, but it smokes very well. You could blow through the pipe, but again, that's not as efficient with a filtered pipe as a non-filtered pipe. In my experience, that's the best way for a filtered pipe. Hand over the top, just hold the whole bowl, stay away from any edges. You don't want to whack the stem on an edge, and just a sharp downward motion, as sharp as you can do it. I don't usually, that's why I'm kind of investigating it. This one is giving me a little bit of gurgle. It could be, as I say, it could be the tobacco, but I don't usually get the problem with that tobacco either, so. I'll have to investigate further. I mean, I can do what Peterson did to one of my favourite pipes. You've all heard this story more than once. Cut the pipe in half. Bastards. Excuse my French. Alright, you've watched me ramble on long enough. Get to work, you lazy git. Right, let's move on. So what are we now? 10 to 12. About 12:15 I have to stop because I'm going to get a jab, my third jab. I actually had a sore throat this morning. I thought, hello, maybe I'll have to postpone the jab. Anyway, I took a test and I'm okay, so happy about that. So we'll get the jab. Darwin Schmarwin, just have some chicken soup and shush. That sorts everything out. A good bit of chicken soup to sort your life out. Give him some chicken soup. Give him some chicken soup. Man, it wouldn't help. It wouldn't hurt. Heard that one? If we can get the godet on, in time. That'll be a good start. We need to do the other one. Crocs? What does that mean? Is that a line I should be recognising? Crocs are the murderers of the shoe world. Do not wear Crocs if you don't mind. These are not Crocs. If you don't mind, excuse me, but these, which are dirty now, these are Birkenstocks. Do not wear Crocs. Trust me. Oh, they're making fun. Do not wear Crocs. They offer no support. I wore them for a long time and I suffered from my feet. As soon as I started wearing these, problem went away. I'm not saying that I don't ever have problems with my feet, but Crocs are really not good for you, especially if you're overweight like me. Yeah, there's no support in them whatsoever. They're okay for little kids that have got no weight on them. But once kids start to grow up, teenagers, don't let them wear Crocs. These Birkenstocks, I think they cost. These are the ones which the medical profession use. If you, a lot of the nurses and doctors that are on their feet all day, this is what they wear. They're like clogs, and I think they're about 35 pounds, something like that, maybe a bit more. But they're worth every penny. Worth every penny. Simon says, no Crocs. Beautiful, beautiful. By the way, for those of you who have lathes, when you're taking on or off a chuck, if you can see there's a wheel here at the end here, and I turn that rather than turning this, because when you do that, eventually, because of the weight of it, especially if you've got a good quality chuck, this is a really heavy chuck, the weight of it as you're taking it off, it's going to drop and it's going to eventually wear out the thread. So you support it and turn the spindle rather than turn the chuck. Once it's properly on, then you can turn it when you're engaging it. Well, if any of you guys go from Crocs to Birkenstock, I'll be a happy man. I have no shares in Birkenstock. Damn it, I should have bought some. Concentrate on what you're doing, Simon. Moron. See you later, BCB. Thanks for joining. I'm surprised more devices don't use the USB-C. So much more robust than the micro USB. See you later, Mike. Have a good day. Good morning, Eleanor. What does VOT mean? I guess we'll find out, James. Good morning, Eleanor. Say hi. Introduce yourself. What are you about? Mm-hmm. I'm sure James will keep an eye on her. I think James and Paul can do like a sandwich, and they can both deploy their spanners. So I'm thinking to do a Dublin with a domed top, a couple of rings, and then maybe an oval shank and a bit of a sculpted stem, possibly. So I'm going to turn this block on its side to make the most of the grain. And we'll see how that goes. Hey, Mark. Oh, I have definitely Shimshon. I've been into it quite deeply. I have to do it again because it was a long time ago. But to get a decent sort of setup, I'm probably looking at around £1,000. I can get set up for £300 if I want, but it's going to be a waste of time. But to get, it's not so much the expense, although that is a factor. It's more the space. Until I open this all up, I haven't got the room for it. Because to get a decent compressor, it'll take a lot of room. I'd like to get an upstanding one rather than a lying down one. but I reckon probably in the regions of £1,000, £1,500, something like that. The compressor has to be of capacity enough that I can just keep blasting without break. Obviously, you have to keep putting the media in and stuff like that. Really, what I need to do is to spend some time with somebody who has one, so I can just get the feel for it. That would be the ideal situation. Where is my pipe? There it is. Well, cleanliness, I think it's pretty much contained once it's set up, because it all goes in the cabinet, and then from the cabinet it goes back into a receptacle. So I don't think that's so much of an issue, although you do get sand flying around, but it's more the space. At the moment, I don't know anybody. No, there are some. I've had a look online. There are some sandblasting centers that you could rent sort of the space for a certain amount of time, because there's a lot of sandblasting going on in the automobile industry. So people do use, and they just don't want to have a setup themselves, or they can't afford it, or they don't have the space. So I believe there are places that you can go and kind of rent the sandblaster by the hour. So that's probably something I need to look into. Yeah, that's pretty much the issue, is the fact that they keep stopping because they have to recharge. So I have to get that right. I did get in touch with Chris at Eldritch Pipes about a year, 18 months ago, to get the spec that I need. I probably need to go into it again when I get to that point. And I'm kind of, there's a few upgrades that I need to do to my workshop. One is obviously the workshop itself, opening it up like I keep talking about, but sandblasting setup is one, and possibly a metal lathe, not necessarily a full-size one, but maybe a midi-sized one, so that I could do the stems on, and possibly smaller pipes. But I don't know. I don't know if it will up my game a huge amount if I have a metal lathe or not, because I don't envisage, although I don't know until I try, but I don't envisage carving bowls necessarily on a metal lathe. But the shank, I could see doing it, and even the shank I'm not so worried about. It's more about the bands and just creating adornments and decoration for the pipe. It's going to be so much more accurate on a metal lathe. But kind of you reinvent the wheel a little bit when you have to, and because I don't have it, a metal lathe, I kind of force myself to learn ways to do all of it, but on a wood lathe. And so you kind of have to just improve your cutting skills. But certainly in terms of cutting acrylics and plastics and things like that, it would be a lot better, because doing on a wood lathe, it tends to, a lot of times they crack and they chip, whereas I think there's less chance of that on a metal lathe. Thanks, Paul. Is there any history on the egg shape? I don't know anything about this pipe. I don't know what history there is. It's just a shape. I mean, that's kind of an egg shape. It's a derivative of a billiard. They're all pretty much derivatives of a billiard. It's like if you look back on some of Jeff Graysock's videos, he made a point which I've adopted way back, and that is every single pipe is a derivative of either a billiard or a volcano. It's as simple as that. So when in terms of grain, so when you're making use of grain, so if you have a pipe, if you have your block in this orientation and you can see the grain going up like that, it's a billiard. You turn the block over and it's a volcano. And he says basically every pipe is a derivative of that. It's a variation of that. And he's right. Obviously he's right. So I've kind of taken that on board. That reminds me of Gone in 60 Seconds. Eleanor was the Shelby, wasn't it? Great movie. I really enjoyed that movie. Ooh, I need to go. Gentlemen, I need to go get jabbed, so I'm going to catch you all later. Thanks for joining. Thank you, James. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody. Catch you later.